Showdown. Hey everyone, we are live on the Overland Podcast. Thank you for being here on this nice and beautiful. I tell you what, we have had the most beautiful weather in Arkansas in a long stinking time. We are past the tornadoes. We're done with that. We're done with all the rain. How much rain did you get?
I don't know, probably 6-7 inches.
Little Rock said 13 inches, and that's in 30 hours.
Yeah.
13 inches in 30 hours. And from the looks of your yard, you got at least that or more because I couldn't see any grass. All I saw was water.
Yeah, I didn't. I guessed a little bit there. I didn't check my gauge, so my gauge probably overflowed for
It
a
probably
couple of
did.
days.
It probably did.
I don't know.
Well, it's been amazing. I love having the cool mornings where you have like a little jacket in the morning. Do you go outside in the mornings?
Every morning.
Every morning. Okay, so I go outside in the morning because I work outside, and I went outside this morning. Had to put a jacket on because it was cold, and then it warmed up. It was so nice, little breeze. Me and my wife had an amazing dinner when we got home. Had some eggs and spam and meat of champions. And then we went on a little bike ride and came home and sat on the back porch till we got ready for this. And it's just been beautiful. It's been absolutely stinking beautiful.
I know. It's such a nice change from what we had since Jasper. I mean, when we were at Jasper, we had, all that rain and hail, and then there was snow and sleet and more hail after that and torrential rain. So,
cloudy the whole time. Didn't see the sun for 3 days. But it's been nice. It's been really nice. Well, we have with us tonight someone I've followed on Instagram for a while, and he has one of the coolest rigs I've seen. I absolutely love his Toyota truck, and can't wait to talk to him about that. And he's got one of the coolest pups out there named Waylon.
I like his dog.
Good boy. Matt. Hey, say your last name, Matt Marchal.
Marshall.
Okay. All right. I would have never guessed that. Well, that'd probably be my second guess. Matt Marshall. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. We know you from Instagram as Travels with Waylon, and I've talked to you a little bit, and just can't wait to visit with you a little bit about who you are, what you do, and a little bit of background about what puts you out there in the overland world and the outdoor world. So you have a very interesting background, and I can't wait to get to it. So if you would, give us a little background about who you are, where you're from. Introduce yourself for us.
Well, my name is Matt Marshall. Travels with Waylon. It's my handle. My dog's named Waylon. We're going on 13 years together. Great pup. And from Ohio originally. And I moved out to Colorado in 99. I was doing construction management, and a company moved me out here and worked there for about a year and decided I wanted to become a shop teacher instead. It just never crossed my mind when I was going to college for construction management till we were talking about the job offers we had. And one guy said, well, I'm going to go work at this high school and be a shop teacher. That just blew my mind. So as things moved along on the job site, I said, well, I think I'm going to go become a shop teacher, and worked in grad school up at CSU and taught construction surveying there, and then landed my first gig in Missoula, Montana. So I taught there for about 3 years and realized that I really couldn't pay the bills on about $20,000 a year. So I decided to seek out some adventurous work instead.
Yeah. Well, so when you say shop, tell us what you mean by shop. That can mean a lot of different things. So what is your specialty in, and what do you teach specifically?
Well, I teach woodworking and metalworking, and basically, we'll do cutting boards, Colorado flags, and we'll do some welding, sheet metal toolboxes. Basically, the introduction to hands-on, minds-on wood and metalworking. We also have advanced manufacturing. We have lasers, CNCs, water jet, plasma cams, assortment of lathes. So try to engage the students with the quick turnaround and the entry levels, and have them, kind of excel and find their own niche in the shop and see where it can take them.
That sounds like a lot of cool stuff.
That sounds like so much fun. Okay, so I've got a story for you. I also work at a school, and one of my best friends that worked at the high school, we have what's called a career center. So we have a career center where people that want to go into blue collar jobs, they do some training there, and they also do some like VOTEC stuff. So we have construction, auto body, auto mechanics, welding, drafting, and different things like that. Well, fortunately for me, my buddy was in the welding. He taught welding there for 28 years, whatever. And so I go to him and I say, "Have you ever wanted to build an overland trailer? Please say yes." And he said, most of what we do or get to do is build smokers and deer stands. He said that's just about all we do because it's self-supportive, because they build them and sell them, and they
Sure.
build them and sell them. And he said, come over here, draw out what you want, and we'll do it. And so I went over there and drew on a napkin what I was wanting. I took him our buddy Scott. He's like I hope Scott's listening. He's like the oldest friend I have, and he's like a great grandpa to me, and he'll enjoy that. I hope he hears that. But anyway, he was swapping out axles on his overland trailer. Had the axle off of a 1941 M100, I think's what it was. And so I took him an axle in there, drew out on a piece of paper what I wanted, and they built that thing from the ground up, from scratch. And I got to go in there 2 or 3 times a week and watch the process of how it was being built.
That's
And
pretty awesome.
I've got that thing in my garage. It's a tank. I've pulled it to like 12 states. It is absolutely bomb proof and incredible, and I love it. And so I love you guys. You guys that are out there teaching the guys. And what's cool about that is every time I get on Instagram, I post pictures of it or anything like that. Some of the students, while they were building it, they followed me on Instagram, and every time I post a picture, they would say, "I helped build that. I helped build that. I
That's
did
awesome.
this on that. I made the gates on that, or I put the floor in that, or that was such a neat experience for
Yeah.
me, and I absolutely enjoy that and love it. And Tony's got the benefit from it too. He's got to eat some of the food been cooked off of it.
Yes, sir.
Uh, but and you actually slept in it.
I did.
They slept in it in Kentucky.
That's right.
So that was pretty fun. We did a trip with Go Explore out there, and I pulled the trailer because I was the chef for the week, and so everywhere I went, I slept in the FJ, and the trailer was hooked to the FJ, and Tony slept right behind me in the trailer. It was just like we were neighbors. It was fun.
Yeah. During the day, I was the photographer, so
He was a photographer.
I was running the trails, and then at night I got the benefit of sleeping on the trailer. So
Yeah, my
that
wife
was
says
awesome.
it's the trailer with the biggest drawer, and that's true. It's got the biggest drawer in the world. But anyway,
Yeah.
I think that's so cool what you do. Teaching people, skills like that. Because if there was anything that I could go back and do differently, I would learn more hand skills, especially welding. Now that I know what I love to do,
Hmm.
man, I wish I could weld. Gosh, I wish I could weld. That's such a skill
Me
that
too.
guys need, especially, and a lot of times they don't realize it till they're older. Do you come across that and see that with ones
Well,
that have graduated?
I see it more. I do the outdoor education program. So I'll have students in there that are seniors and it's their last semester of senior year. And in my class with them, we all make a cutting board. Some of them might be their first cutting board. Some might have been in the class before as a shop student. And that's one of the things I hear like, wow, I wish I knew this existed, or this is great. And seeing that light bulb come on, not necessarily if it's going to be a career or not, but that skill set that they acquire, and it seems empowering to them. And it's about 50 in the outdoor ed. It's about 50-50 guy to girl ratio, and it's just a good diverse group in there, and they're all helping each other, working on power tools, and get a cutting board to take home, and that's pretty neat. But the welding in my actual shop classes, I've had some students come out of there that are, going into the welding trades, going to the mechanic trades, even, girls also. They went to a couple semesters in my class. They went to the vocational high school, then got certified in welding. So it's pretty neat seeing that skill set and that light bulb come on and what they'll do with it.
Well, tell us about, I saw where you posted that you actually had to go without Waylon for a while because you were actually out with students. So tell us about the outdoor classes or the excursions that you do with students. A little bit more about that.
So Golden High School has a program called Senior Seminar Program, and it's an experiential ed program. It's going into its over 50th year now, and it's a semester of not necessarily outdoor education, but a lot of education that takes place out of doors. For this particular group of seniors, they'll apply to it, and we'll narrow it down to about 25 students, and we travel pretty much now throughout the country. I go on the Sand, Sea, and Soul trip. So we'll leave from Colorado, go down through New Mexico, Arizona, San Diego, and then from San Diego back, we'll hit Joshua Tree, Grand Canyon, and Arches. We'll actually hike the Grand Canyon down and back in one day. Do a lot of exploring with geology. There's instructors that come along that will teach you lessons related to the environment that we're in. Right now, they're in the Indian reservations down in Southwest, so they have their studies down there while they're staying on some tribal land. They were just in D.C. a few weeks ago. They were there for a week, and then they'll bike the Kokopelli Trail towards the beginning of May. So it's a pretty intensive semester out of doors, and there's a lot of, like I said, it's a lot of outdoor activities, not necessarily an outdoor ed program, but the learning and the experiences do take place outside for the most part, just because trying to get a group and keep within budget. We do a lot of national parks, and it's a lot of we stay at a high school. We've stayed at a couple high schools before, so kind of community outreach. And like I said, they're down there on the Native American reservations right now. They've stayed in homeless shelters in DC where they've served the residents there, and in exchange for lodging, and just a unique opportunity. We're multi-generational. So we have some students whose parents went there, and I'm not sure if we're getting on grandparents at this point or not, but it's a pretty neat experience. And especially if I've had the kids in the class, squirrely freshmen, and then now they're seniors and, matured, a little more direction. And then if they've had the shop, they then help the other students out, because we do, like I said, we'll make the cutting board in that class also, just to get a little shop experience. So it's pretty well-rounded.
That is
Nice.
so cool.
Nice.
Man, what I would have given to have had the opportunity to do something like that. It's kind of like, you think you have to wait till college to be able to like go abroad or do things like that, study abroad. But that's kind of like the study abroad where you just go outdoors and learn. Did you ever have anything like that, Tony?
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Never had that. That was not an option.
I love that idea. I think my wife's probably looking on your website right now to see if there's any job openings.
It's pretty unique, and I'm going into over my 20th year of teaching, and I don't think I'd be doing the teaching still if it wasn't for the outdoor education aspect of it.
I totally agree.
It's probably not in the high school capacity. It's a real game changer. Seeing the kids evolve, and then being able to get out there and kind of teach in an environment that I'm passionate about, teaching them, respect for being outdoors, outdoor cooking, group teamwork. We divide about 25 kids. We divide into 5 groups of cook crew, clean crew, vibes crew, so it's that teamwork building while we're out there experiencing and learning. That it's like a
traveling summer camp.
Yeah. And it's in Colorado, so it's not like it's in Kansas or North Dakota. It's in Colorado.
Yeah,
they're getting to learn these skills and have this class setting in the mountains of Colorado. It's just,
well, if they did it in Kansas, they'd go outside and learn about wind.
Yeah,
that would be it.
Well, I guide for the junior rafting program also.
Nice.
So it's gone on for about the same amount of time, 50 plus years, and that's open to all juniors. And we do at least one trip a year, the Desolation Canyon in Utah on the Green River. And this year we'll be doing the Yampa River to the Green River in early May. And then in late May, we'll be doing the Desolation Canyon. So 2 4 or 5 day trips. Had students on there that have never camped before. So their first camping experience is 20 miles from the put-in on a river and, using a groover.
Yeah.
Break them in good. Break them in good.
That's
awesome.
right.
Well, have you always been somebody who's loved the outdoors? Has this been something since you were little?
I feel so. I went camping with my family a lot. My dad, he was pretty inspirational in getting us outside and camping, and just instilled that in me, along with the desire to do woodworking. So I think a lot of my formative years were camping and helping out, doing chores with him, and my grandma also. But I've always had this yearning to head out west. So I stayed through and finished my college off, but then as soon as I was able to, I sought employment out in Colorado. Landed the job and headed west.
Wow,
So,
that's cool.
Nice.
I like how you incorporate a lot of your skills into your teaching, and I saw where you like built a snow cave and things like that. That was pretty cool. Do you like incorporating or going out and doing some of that and incorporating that into your teaching?
Well, the snow cave is actually one of the school trips. So that's the
really?
First trip of the senior SEM program. So we divide into groups and we learn how to build Quincy huts. Not Quincy's, I think they're called. Quincy, the Quincy's the arch structure, but Quincy's are a type of snow cave where you're not digging in, but you're piling snow, then pulling it out. So we'll do that for one overnight trip, and if all goes well, that's their worst trip of the semester. If they can endure that, and still leave with a positive attitude, everything's going to be pretty smooth after that. So, and that's it's cold. It might be 0 degrees out, but stay around 30 in the snow cave, and I'll usually cook on that trip, so kind of feed them up real good. But we'll have some fires, and they usually leave in pretty good spirits and looking forward to our what we have to come. But I came to Golden High School. I was working in Antarctica prior to that, so they thought that my service down there would be put to good use, teaching the kids how to snow cave.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, if you're living in Colorado, you got to know how to deal with the snow. I mean, there's a lot of it.
Hotels are pretty nice too,
Can't get in one, just build one. Yeah. Well, what inspired you to build your truck out?
The way I built it out, I believe I was inspired by being in New Zealand. Seeing the rigs that they had down there, and just the function of them, the utility of them, and I think it was kind of the form followed the function. You built the utility in, and that was the rig you ended up with. And I love the drop slide. It's a ute bed out of Australia that I had. There's a company out in Washington State that brings them in. So I had the bed on, and then started building the hoops up. And a company out of Denver built the canopy off an Australian design, and we worked on that together. And it's been a great project of keeping it. Like this weekend, I had about 15 bags of topsoil mulch in there. So being able to still use the truck, which is, I always want to build it out, make a camper out of it, but then I'm throwing, I'm using it as a truck. So now that I got the penthouse upstairs, it kind of worked really well for both worlds. But I was inspired for that particular design from being in New Zealand and seeing how the Utes, how they run their Utes trucks down there.
Yeah. I got a kick out of the name. I think I know what the name means, but I'm not 100%. It's something I learned in a movie.
Dances with
So
Wolves.
yeah,
Tatonka.
Tatanka.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever
Yeah.
heard that. They said
Yeah,
a lot of
that's where I got it from also. And,
Yep.
I feel I've adopted the bison as my spirit animal at this point, and
Yep.
it used to be the mountain goat. I was climbing, hiking 14ers, and I'd see the mountain goat up there. And after a bit of a reprieve from doing that, I was on another school trip. We were in Jackson Hole, and I saw the bison just standing there in a snowstorm that they were just doing. They were unfazed by the elements. They're persevering. And I said, I believe I'm more like the bison now than I am the mountain goat. And, it's kind of my theme around the house too. So we got the.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you
But I think the truck, the way it sits, pretty slow going, but got that hump on the back for the camper, and
Yep.
it became Tatanka.
I'm
I
digging
love
it.
it.
Yep.
I love
sure.
it. And it wasn't until I actually started, like going down through some of your Instagram to see that the bed actually folds down on the side, which I thought that's genius.
Yeah, they fold down or they pop off if I want to run it.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I've always, I don't know why, but I've always loved the soft tops. They're just they're intriguing to me, and I just love how they are. And now that you've got is it a Go Fast camper
That is
on top?
Go Fast platform.
And you can access that from the bottom, right?
Yeah, I cut about a third of the floor out of the rooftop tent, and they made a sliding platform, so I can stand up, change, and then pop up into it and slide the platform over, and it's fully floored up on top then.
So does Waylon get up there with you, or does he stay
does.
down below? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
awesome. I was wondering how much of that, when you built your rig out, how much of it you did yourself. And you can tell there are some, like the Go Fast, and there are some big name companies that you put on there. But how much of it that you did yourself once you got started?
The biggest custom feature on there is the steel cage, the hoops that go on top of the tray bed and below the canopy. And I worked with a buddy of mine, and he had better equipment for the bending and tube bending. I only had a pipe, and we did that out of DOM and welded that up. The canopy itself is completely custom, the canvas canopy. Some of the things I built were the light brackets, the sheet metal, 1/8-inch aluminum for that, the filler neck holder for the gas. There's some custom things and behind it was rear seat delete, so I have a platform in there. But it's been it's a lot of thought in the process of how can I use this and what can I use it for. The sliders, I can't recall the name, but they're pretty unique because they have a symmetrical design to where they have the curved approach in front, but then the reverse curve in the back. So they make an excellent straight step to access from the standing on them right in front of the rear wheel. But I bolted on the bumper and the slider. So, buy and bolt just like the bed was. It was a flat packed when it came in. So, I think I spent a lot of time trying to conceive what it is and how I'm going to use it. And then execute it slowly.
doing the what was Tom Hanks on Castaway, when he had that pile of boxes that washed up after he got situated, he sat there and he would just kind of stare and what can I do with this VHS tape?
My students give me a hard time. And Marshall, why don't you just build this? And I said, look at what I build every day. Look at what we build. I said, that's kind of sometimes the last thing I want to do. But one of my students actually turned me on to Instagram, and it was, I forget the name, which site it was, but he was showing me some builds he wanted to do. So he was going through a whole bunch of them. And, on his rig, we built sliders from scratch. We built a sleeping platform with drawers that come out. Another kid built a full-on wedge camper based off the Go Fast. So a lot of things, I'll give these students some ideas, some inspiration, we'll work on a plan, cut list, and make it happen. And then, maybe some of my DIY kind of fades a little bit when it comes to myself, and I'll see what's available to not reinvent the wheel and put that on there.
That was kind of how I started when I got my FJ. Everything that I had on there was made at the welding shop, the roof rack, bumpers, sliders, everything. And then, over the years, I upgraded a little bit to aluminum because, good Lord, that was the heaviest rig. I think it was about the same weight as a D6 dozer. It was just absolutely incredibly heavy. Ended up, me and Tony put airbags on it so I could set it back up straight. But I totally get that, where you're in there and doing everything and figuring everything out. But it's so fun to help students out and teach them how to do that and get them outside like that. Did you do anything specific for Wayland when you built it?
I don't think anything particular, except in the rear seat delete, I made sure I can stack two. They're called quantum tubs. They're the way they're stacked. His dog bed fits on top of there, so it sits not too high, or he can lay back there if I happen to have a passenger in the vehicle. So that's kind of his riding platform. I have my Dometic fridge, little box, little what do you call it? A power bank, and then two stacking boxes in his dog bed right on top. And he knows by the time I get in the back, he gets right up there and just kind of, that's his perch. He's getting older, and I don't like him jumping out of the truck bed because that sits up there pretty high. But
you got to be careful with that when they get older. My dog's getting on up there too. I got to watch her. Especially in the rooftop tent, because she likes to sit up there and look out, and I'm afraid she's going to see something and jump out one of these days, not even thinking. But you really got to watch them when they get a little older. Tony's dogs are getting older too, and
Diamond's 8 and Sadie's 5. So
I think that PJ's around 8 now, but she's like 17. It's what she looks like. She's aged a lot. But anyway, is there anything about your rig that you would do over if you had it to do over again?
I'm really happy with where it's at, and I always go back and forth. Like, would I have done a, say, 4-wheel camper, flatbed camper, or other ones they make that will accommodate a flatbed or slide in with toolbox sides. So there are other things I would do if it wasn't a dedicated truck, or if it was a dedicated camper. There are a lot of things I would probably do different. This one, the way it's evolved, I can 6 bolts, and at this point probably 4 guys, I can easily slide the whole rack and rooftop tent off at once. So there's some slides under the cage, and 4 guys easy, 6 bolts, slide it off, and I've got a flatbed. So the utility aspect of it, I wouldn't change that right now. Down the road, maybe if I'm doing less work, less yard work, maybe something that would be more of a habitat back there than
less mulch.
Something that's, right now it's a truck I can camp in. And before I had the rooftop tent, it was, I'd have to be in the bed of the truck. So whatever residual was in the bed of the truck, I'd have to clean out, whether it be, mulch or firewood or whatnot. And I didn't like that. So the rooftop tent, the Go Fast up there, that was a big game changer. And I never used it I've not accessed the rooftop tent from the outside yet. So it was, it was ready to go with the access hole from the inside, the moment I was putting it on. So
nice.
I don't know if I would have enjoyed it, or if I'd be enjoying it if I had to access it through a ladder, and not being able to stand. So being able to stand in the bed of the truck, being able to pop up into the Go Fast, that really changes the whole experience of sleeping on an aluminum truck bed, even with the canvas around it. there's so many cool truck campers out there now, whether you're building them your own, but just available commercially. Like if I do more of a dedicated camping rig, we'll see what options. But right now, I'm really happy with what I have.
Nice.
I think you should be. It's a cool rig.
Well, just for future reference, if you ever need to know, Walmart does deliver mulch.
There goes my whole
Good
plan.
grief.
I had 16 bags of mulch delivered last weekend while I was working on Arliss
That
Jeep.
sounds like work. That sounds
Now,
like a lot of work.
It's 2 trips. It's 2 trips because they'll only deliver 8 bags at a time.
Oh,
But,
What?
mhm.
Well, they deliver it on a motorcycle?
In there, well, no, that's
Is that the drones delivering it and dropping it
no,
from the sky?
no,
There's some
just
targets out in the backyard for them to drop them on.
Yeah, you got a big target back there. Drones.
they put them in the back seat of their cars or in the trunk or wherever it'll fit. They put 8 bags in there. So
that sounds horrible. Well, Matt, I want to ask you about some of the gear that you use. We have something in common. We both use Cook Partner stoves, and we both were in the 2025 calendar. Did you know I was in that?
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. Made that. And so that was pretty cool. Yeah, there it is. Waylon made it in there. Love the Cook Partner stoves, but tell us about some of the gear that you have that you absolutely love and would never change.
Well, the Cook Partner, for one, that's been a go-to even before the rig was built out. And I have no idea how old that Cook Partner stove is. It was a 4-burner.
Was it the folding one?
Yeah. And it was I cut off the folding part, so I don't have a lid for it, and cleaned up the burners, and it's just been my go-to. So that Cook Partner, I like that a lot. I have a Dometic fridge, and having that with my EcoFlow power supply, like that, just you're not looking for ice. You don't have to worry. You can plan your meals as if you were at home instead of like, what needs to stay frozen on the bottom. I'll still put frozen stuff in there to, if it's going to be out for a few days, and that keeps the fridge from running all the time. So I really like having a fridge, having a power supply up there, and I like powdered coffee. I didn't really use much instant coffee before I started going on extended trips. It was novel. I French press at home and French press out camping, but that's a lot of work, and just trying out some of the instant coffees out there. I'm enjoying that. Let's see. I have Waylon has a Hest sleeping pad. He seems to really like that a lot.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I bet. That's white collar sleeping pad.
That's bougie.
Yeah,
that's bougie for your dog.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So he seems to enjoy it. Maybe I'll splurge and get myself one if I.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what. I have a box. My lodge cast iron. I've got some of their just carbon steel. I really enjoy having that cookware with the nice even heat distribution on the Cook Partner stove. The Go Fast, I chose it. It's USA made, and I really like that. I like the simplicity of it. Kind of a, here's your enclosed structure. Do with it what you want. And being lightweight, low profile, and made in Montana, that was pretty awesome. It fit my truck. Kind of mimics the style of the aluminum tray bed on there. So I really like that. I play around with an assortment of different gear, kind of depending on how long I'm going to go out. A lot of my old stuff from the 90s was, at that time, cutting edge backpacking gear. So that stuff's phasing out, and I'm trying to kind of reconfigure my lightweight stuff and see what the future has for maybe some lightweight trips, whether backpacking or do a motorcycle. I have a TW 200. I want to do some trail riding with that, or just bike packing on the mountain bike. So I'm going to play around with that gear. But I think for the truck, I'm kind of dialed in to what fits, and it was maybe buy 3 of these different items and how it fits in the rear seat with the rear seat delete, how it fits best, and get rid of the rest. So I got a little Engel dry box. So it kind of works as a supplemental fridge. It's real lightweight. I like having that. But the fridge and the power bank, I think that changed a lot of things. As far as being able to repower up your phone, keep the camera going, keep the fridge going. I've got a little induction cooktop I can use too. Don't use the induction cooktop much, but I use the Stokes Voltaic kettle pot a lot. And I'll preload that with water. I'll put it. I have the Tacoma has the fold down seat, so that becomes my coffee station right there. I'll load it up with the water at night, have it plugged in, and crawl out of the top, hit play on that. Take Waylon for a quick little walk. Come back 5 minutes later. I have boiling water, inside the cab of the truck. So it doesn't matter about weather. So that Stokes Voltaics kettle pot, that was pretty awesome. Still is. And there's different functions. You can cook in it if you want to heat up like a stew, or it does make popcorn. But the boiling water on that's pretty awesome. I have a large kettle or large skillet that I put on the cook partner, so that occupies both burners. So being able to not run a splitter on a propane tank and just in the out of the weather, it's in the cab, that works great. So
nice. We have definitely discovered that even if you do have like a cook partner 2-burner stove, having something like a backpacking stove of some kind, like a jet boil or something in addition to that, is priceless, because you always have to boil water. You always have to have something like that. So it's really nice. Tony was my water boiler last time we went. It seemed like he was boiling water the whole time we were there for coffee. It was funny.
I mean, it was at Jasper Jeep Jam, right?
Yeah.
So we were going through the coffee.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of fun when a lot of people come around, when you're just standing there at the back of your. This was at an event, and standing around, a lot of people show up, and they're like, "Y'all got coffee ready?" And Tony's like, "Give me about 2 minutes. 2 minutes, it'll be ready."
I think a lot of I think calling what I do overlanding is probably a stretch. Maybe some extended truck camping, but where I can wake up and enjoy the view with a cup of coffee is about half of what it's about for me.
That's you're speaking my language.
Yeah,
speaking my language.
Yeah,
and some of the pictures that you post, you find some amazing spots. What are some of your favorite places that you like to go?
There's the same. We were talking about this. The San Juans are really hard to beat. Just the scale of those mountains and the openness and the feeling of being alone when you're in that area. That's incredible. It's quite a haul even for me. I'd say it's probably 7 hours to get into them. Here in Golden, Colorado, where we have some pretty accessible sites within about an hour or so away. So I can do a less than 100-mile round trip and be in some pretty spectacular places. Some of the reservoirs, forest roads going up to reservoirs. The mesa right out the back door. I like going for a morning hike with the dog and bringing the coffee. That's when I bring my backpack and old Prius backpacking stove and make a little fire on the mountain coffee
Man, you going old school with the Primus there. I love that. Primus been around a long time.
My first stuff was acquired in the 90s.
You got to pump it and make sure it. Oh my goodness!
Wow.
I carried an old Primus to Nepal, and we were in the Himalayas in Nepal, and the food there was so bad. I had some freeze dried meals. I cooked every meal we had on an old Primus stove with diesel fuel.
Oh wow.
That
Oh,
was the only kind of fuel we could get. Smoke. Oh my gosh, it smoked. It turned everything I had black. I had to do it on the front porch of the hotel that we were at. We paid $6 a night for this hotel. That's how. Oh man, it was something. But yeah,
I would have thought the food would have been better.
well, the food at this place was not good. So
Probably had a little less diesel smoke in it.
well, it may have had a little less diesel smoke, but my food, I kept the diesel smoke out of my food. It was just smoked up the neighborhood.
One
That's
of my
cool.
favorite spots, one of my memories on a school trip. So I get to go a lot of places on the school trips that they're out of my regular realm, I'd say. So, but this year, I've been to Joshua Tree a handful of times, but this year, waking up to snow in Joshua Tree and opening up the vestibule of my tent and making coffee right there with the snow on the ground, the snow on the Joshua trees. That was a pretty surreal experience.
Yeah.
And then just after that, made some coffee on the rim of the Grand Canyon. So, a little brew with a view is what I'm going for.
Yeah.
Kidding.
That sounds like a rough time.
Sounds horrible. Yeah.
Well, you got to get up pretty early to beat the kids, though. Because once they wake up, it's game on, and
that's right.
Chaperone duties are in full effect.
Yeah. What do you is Waylon a good traveler? And when
he really is, I was his fifth owner by the time he was 3 or 4 months old. So he had a lot of anxiety of getting in the vehicle. He'd start, running at the nose and maybe even throwing up before the vehicle was moving. So it wasn't motion sickness. I think it was, here comes another home. And I think he's kind of figured it out now after all these years. We're just going out to have a good time. So he seems to know the routine. And I'm hoping that, he's enjoying it as much as I am. And, the name of my program, Travel with Waylon, it's really about, giving him his best life right now. And we're enjoying it together.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well,
your dog and coffee with a view.
Yeah.
I mean,
sounds like a horrible life, I swear. Sounds like what we're all trying to get to. Have you met other people out there in the community that are kind of doing the same thing that you're doing with their pets and stuff? When you're out, have you met anybody like that?
Well, in Colorado here, it's definitely a lot of dogs. So a lot of people that I know, there'll be more pictures of their dogs doing something than their spouse or their children.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
I don't think it's that unique in that aspect, but I'd still think that, Waylon himself, he's a pretty unique dog, and we have a pretty tight, special bond. So,
I don't guess I realized he was that old. Y'all been together that long. That's a long time.
Yeah. Pretty good run. And
he's got a little bit of gray.
Several years off where I was doing some pretty heavy house remodeling projects, and, I don't feel I gave him all that he needed for, how much he put up with what I was doing. So really been dedicating the last few years to get out there and enjoy each other.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I love the posts of him sitting there with the sides rolled up on the tent, and it's just like he's sitting there on the flatbed, just kind of looking out over the, his kingdom.
It's like Mufasa.
Yeah,
he's like Mufasa looking over his kingdom. Yeah,
I love that so much.
Well, he's sitting up there thinking this is a good life right now.
If I head out and he doesn't know where I am, he typically goes back to the truck, and that's his domain. So, and he really sleeps well when we go camping. I don't know whether it's just we do a lot of hiking and walking around, but we'll pop up there in the GFC, and I was thinking that's going to be a bummer getting him out of there in the middle of the night, and he doesn't stir. So he's a great travel buddy.
It's funny. Our dogs, when my wife's at home, she takes them out to potty in the middle of the night, and sometimes I don't even wake up. But when she's gone, I don't take them out to potty in the middle of the I don't know what's
Boy, we do.
going up with that.
We do.
They got her figured out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our little Frenchie last weekend. I don't know what her deal is. She changes every time we go somewhere. But when we were at Jasper Jeep Jam, of course the storms kind of rattled her, and she sat there and looked outside the window all night. But this past weekend when we were well, look at there he
There's
is.
Waylon.
There he is.
Hey, buddy.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I was hoping he would make an appearance. But this past weekend, we put her up in the tent. And the next thing I know, she is on my wife's pillow. So she is like sleeping on my wife's pillow between us. And she's right here.
There we go.
There we go.
And,
Dog show,
baby dog.
I don't even have my dog. Where's my dog at? I feel kind of left out.
He likes that go fast. Where that wedge starts, he'll hunker in right down there. And, I think he likes the confines. But then when we have it open during the day, he'll.
There's my girl.
There she
is.
Girl.
Peach. Kind of assess his kingdom, his territory.
Peach.
Who's that? Who's that?
Who's that?
There's the pups.
Who's that?
Pups.
I do that too, and they take off to the garage door waiting for Mama to come in.
Yeah, he figured someone just showed up.
Who's that?
Whoops. She dropped the dough. I'm sorry. She didn't drop the dough. I love it. Well, do you feel like getting outside with Waylon has changed your outlook on anything?
I think it's changed my priorities.
Okay.
I'd go out a lot. I'd hit the brew pubs up after work, or see what type of social activities I could get into on the weekends. And I was saying, like, I was doing a lot of work on the house and kind of neglecting him to the extent of where I felt we could be doing something better together, and probably better for myself. So I think, took that opportunity to see what's out there. Instead of finding excuses, we found opportunities, and we were, exploring places maybe I went to 20 years ago and seeing what they're like now, and finding new trails, new terrain, and just, getting out there and getting after it. So I think, but I think there was a little bit of guilt, how good of a dog he's been, and thinking that there's a lot more opportunities out there to, experience with him. So I think it's awesome. Gotten, instead of walking down the street, I got a yard, I can just let him out. But, instead of just doing that, let's go out and explore and see what comes of it.
Yeah. We adopted our little Frenchie a couple years ago, and she was abused. She's got one blind eye, she's got half an ear, she's got, just, you could tell that she had a rough first several years of her life, and they teach us a lot about ourselves, about what we want to invest in, and it does change our priorities. We want to give them the best life that they possibly can have, and I love that, getting them outside. And she loves walking on the trails, she loves sleeping in the camper, she loves getting out and exploring the woods, and I love taking her down
in water.
She loves laying down in the water and getting nasty. Especially right before it's time to get in the tent. She loves getting nasty.
Sure.
So,
that seems about right.
Yeah.
We had fireworks here the other night. Colorado School of Mines is, in Golden, Colorado. And they had E-Days, which is engineering days, it's an engineering college. And they have their annual celebration. They had fireworks Sunday night because it was, it was really dry on Saturday, so they didn't. We're out there, and he's out. He likes to go bark at the fireworks. But we had rain that night, and he comes back. He was about 8 inches deep on each leg in mud. I was looking like, how did that happen? And like I said, I was just doing some yard work and whatnot, so I had an area raked out, and it was kind of fresh. And it was fresh, and he found it. And, right before bedtime. And it happens at home, it happens in the tent, and happens in the truck topper.
If there's one thing that one piece of advice I can give to people, if you take your dogs out camping, overlanding, whatever, bring more towels, you're going to need more towels always for mud, wet, nasty, whatever, because if they find it, they're going to get in it.
That's
And
fact.
if you only have one small bed that everybody has to sleep in, the last thing you want is a nasty dog in that bed. So bring more towels.
Yes.
Any advice you could offer with all your experience of taking Waylon out with you?
I was hesitant at first, making sure that I didn't, what gear I had, or having the right gear, or having the right setup, or it not packing the right way. And I think the planning aspect got in the way of me actually doing it. So you don't need everything to go out there and do it. You need enough to get you through. You need enough to be safe. And if you're out there, you're probably going to have a good time. But, I spent a lot of time and, kind of stressing over the details of what I actually needed rather than getting out there and getting after it. So I think just do it.
Yeah.
And, I bought and spent a lot of time on things and completely revamped the plan after using them. So I think just from use and enjoying your time out there, you'll find out what it is you need and where it is you like to go.
Yeah.
That's so true. So true. Well, what's in store for you in 2025? What can we expect to see?
2025. Well, we'll probably do a little bit more of the same.
Yeah. Well, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right. One thing I did want to hit was the sand dunes, the Sand Dune National Park there, great sand dunes.
Great sand dunes, yeah.
And I'd like to hit that early summer and see if I can hit that when the water's flowing through there. So I've been there when it's been frozen or the snow on the ground, and I would like to experience that in the spring, late spring, and see what that's all about. I don't have any other particular destinations. I'd like to do another trip down to the San Juan area, and maybe hook up with some old buddies and see if we can rally together. As we're getting older, people have their own lives and families. It's harder to get together. So some buddy trips, and we'll see what comes out of it.
I like it.
Are
the
passes? Oh,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, are the passes getting close to opening up?
I don't know what the snowpack is on, but a lot of times it's mid-July.
Yeah. It seems like I've read somewhere where some of them didn't get quite as much snow this winter. So is that accurate?
I don't know what the snow has been.
Okay.
They still could get more though. It's
right.
Oh, well, that's true.
I told you I did a bunch of yard work on Sunday, and I had my sprinklers on I didn't set the timer up now because I'm still playing with it, but I hit the go button around 4:30 in the morning on Monday. I popped my head out the window to take a look and see if they're coming out. We had an inch of snow on the ground.
Oh, wow.
So you're talking about all the rain you got just passed, and I'm like, yeah, we had 70-degree weather on Saturday, Sunday, and then snow overnight. So
yeah, we had 85-degree weather over the weekend.
It was hot. My goodness.
I'll have to start venturing out more and getting a feel for what the snow is like. But yeah, a lot of times in summer, some are just closed off for wildlife. They'll open them up, not necessarily closed because they're snowed out.
Well, we're getting kind of towards the end, and we got to talking about some more stuff. I kind of let the time get away from me, but I wanted to ask you about your time in Antarctica. Tell us about what you did there and how you enjoyed that, and how in the world did you end up on the bottom of the earth?
Well, when I was in grad school, I started working for the National Park Service as a carpenter. So I was doing that during the summers, and people I knew there, we were working in the national park and then in Antarctica during our winter. So Antarctica summer. So they'd be in the park from, say, June through September, and then from October to February, they'd be in Antarctica. And that kind of blew my mind. That's a crazy thing to do. And I moved to Missoula, and one of the first two people I met there had been part of the Antarctic program. So I taught for 3 years, and I was at my end of I thought teaching, and I said, well, I'm going to look into this Antarctic program, and I went to the job fair down in Denver, and they signed me up. So I went down there in 2006 for the first time as a carpenter, and then again in 2007. So during those 2 years, I worked in Grand Teton then as a historic preservation carpenter during the summer, and then Antarctica during our winter. And it was an incredible life-changing experience. The people I've met in the park, they're pretty awesome people, a real diverse group of people that, find maybe more meaning in the service they're doing than necessarily the paycheck or the office. And I think that was the same down in Antarctica. You really highly educated people coming down there for a different experience. And it really created kind of a family of people where, right now, my friends that I met in 2006, some of them are still going down there annually. And
wow.
So it's a pretty unique culture. Everything you need to sustain a small city is down there. My job was a field carpenter, so I'd, get around, whether it was in a C-130, a small prop plane, a helicopter, snow machine, snowcats. However we got around, I'd get to usually a desolate place, and we'd start building town. Town might be a few tent structures or whatnot. The scientists would come in, they'd do their research, and then we'd come back out later part of the season and take those down. Built some permanent structures, though, too, a really incredible timber frame helicopter pad, some hard pack units that were shipped out, a lot of boxes.
Wow.
And then work orders around, in town, McMurdo Station. So, door blows off and, put work order together and trying to, make things happen down there. So it was, my job as a carpenter in the carp shop. I also worked kind of as the journeyman carpenter, and not just because we traveled down there, but I was in charge of teaching the apprentice carpenters kind of the lay of the shop. And that was neat. So I got to take my teaching experience and put it down there to where, safety was a big concern, because you get hurt down there, and resources are really limited too. So planning your workout, being safe, and a pretty incredible carpenter shop, and the history of the carpenter shop down there is pretty awesome too. So it's one of the original structures from the 50s, from the Seabees. The Navy Seabees built that structure to build the town of McMurdo. So it's pretty cool.
That is so neat. Never knew anything like that existed.
Well, no, you really got to plan that out. It's not like you can run to Lowe's or Home Depot if you're missing a couple of 2x4s.
They flew me out to a communication island called Black Island, and they wanted a deck built. So I went there the first day and got all my measurements together and list of materials. And then the next day, a helicopter comes with a sling load and drops a bunk of lumber and all the hardware needed. And I spent the next few days out there building a deck. So
wow.
See, I couldn't do that because I always forget something. There's never one trip to Home Depot. There's always two, at least two, because I always forget at least one thing and have to go back and get it.
I agree. I'm not saying it doesn't happen down there.
I love it. Well, I feel better about myself now. Yeah. Oh man, that's so neat. I love that. And man, that's so neat to hear about everything that you're doing with the kids. I work in a school. My wife works in a school, so we feel your pain working with students. But it's also with high school students, especially seniors. You got a very rewarding. That's a very rewarding time because they're fixing to get out in the world, and you can see a little bit of reward for what you're doing. And it's with my wife and I work in middle school, so it's a long time before we see any reward come out of what we're doing because they're still kids and still making dumb decisions.
They got one foot out the door or down the aisle for graduation, but still excited to be there. That keeps me going too. So
I'm sure. That's a great time. It really is. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on here and joining us. We really appreciate you taking time. Such an interesting guy with a cool dog and an awesome truck. And you're right up our alley. You know, and you spoke to my heart. A lot of the things that you said, you know, going out with your dog, hiking with your dog, and just taking out and waking up to beautiful views with a cup of coffee. I mean, that's pretty much that's it. That's it for me. Love it.
That's right.
You put out some great content on your socials. I would encourage everybody to give Travels with Waylon a follow, and we'll be putting that out on when we put this podcast live on all platforms tomorrow. So anyway, very encouraging, worth our time, and we really appreciate you coming on. Thank you for sharing with us.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Tony. Thank you,
Yes,
Joey.
sir. Yes, sir.
And enjoy your guys' content also. So thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Well, for everyone who supports us each and every week, thank you for doing that. You make sure that this happens every week. Tony, thank you for being here.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to see your rig. You've done a lot of work to it. You scalped it, and then you put a top back on it. And so I can't wait to see that.
It's getting close.
Getting
close. Yep.
It's taller. It's like it grew.
It's a lot taller.
Yeah, it's so cool. Well, everyone, I hope you have the absolute best week. Make sure you get out. Maybe you get a long weekend this week. We're off on Friday because it's Good Friday. And if we're off on a Friday, that is a Good Friday.
That's right.
Easter coming up. Hope you get to spend time with family and friends. Get outside, enjoy this beautiful world that we have. And whether you travel by rig or by chute, look out for number 1 and don't step in number 2. We're out.